This video is a film study look at Ravens outside linebacker Mike Green in his rookie debut. Of course, the Ravens defense disappointed overall, right, giving up 41 points, especially I think 22 in the fourth quarter, 250 yards passing. From a Mike Green standpoint, going to look at, I think we got 9 plays queued up here. He's only credited with 1 tackle, and I don't think there's any quarterback pressures here. I'm not a big person on pass rush win rate. I will draw a distinction between the quality of his rushes against the left tackle Dawkins versus the right tackle. I think it's Spencer Brown. A little bit more technical on the right side, maybe a little bit more prepared for the specific moves that Mike Green uses. But within each pass rusher, some guys play better on the right side versus the left. And I wonder if Green is a guy who appears to maybe play better from his right side. The Ravens defense is right. We're going to get the end zone angle for pretty much every one of these plays except one. And we're going to focus on Green. I'm going to spot shadow him in yellow in each iteration. It's a 1st and 10 from the second quarter. Don't have him in the game on defense until the second quarter. And it's a run play away. The Ravens are ahead 17-7. This is a critical drive here. Opportunity to possibly get a stop at some point. I think we got a 3rd down coming up here, and then maybe add on to what you've got. So Dawkins is engaging him. And look, I mean, Ravens fans are not wrong for talking about holds. That's a hold. We're talking about right here. You've got a fistful of jersey. That's clearly a hold, but it's away from the point of attack. And so, smart veteran players, a guy like Dawkins, understand that. In my opinion, there's going to be people who say, oh, they're not going to call that away from the play. I don't care whether they call it or not. That is a fistful of jersey. Referees' eyes are generally going to be at the point of attack. But we're evaluating Mike Green, right? We're talking about Mike Green and what he's able to get done. Talking about the offensive line for the Bills versus ours, this quick combo by their right tackle, right guard, and then their center and their left guard. Let's watch it unfold a couple of times. I know you guys signed up or came here for a Mike Green film study, but look at what they're able to get done quickly. This is the one that Ty Johnson, kind of fumbles here and nearly, maybe gives up possession of the ball. But the point is, look at the lane that is there. Their O-line is way better on the interior than ours. There's really just no comparison at all. I'm going to move forward here in most iterations of this. This is a zone drop by Green, meaning he's going to drop out. We got the end zone angle, so that may seem kind of pointless to some. But we're talking about the situation. It's a 1st and 10 in the second quarter. He was really good in the preseason at dropping out. Now, he's got a running back. I think it's Johnson in motion. It's the fullback is in the backfield. And so it looks to me like Johnson is trying to cross his face in a 3-4 structure or system, 50, old school. You don't normally want to let the running back cross your face. So I'm not sure what Green has out here, right? I will say this. This was a badass play by Broderick Washington. This football deadens, and it ends up back in Josh Allen's hands. Chance for us to, have a big play if it deadens and comes back to Broderick. Allen, you can see, almost makes the reception. I don't know exactly what Mike Green has outside of him there, meaning is there a corner for support, a nickel? But this is a big moment, in my opinion, in the second quarter when we're up 17-7, and now we've got a 3rd and 9. And that's why I kind of set this up, talking about the run play where I think Dawkins is holding, whether he should be called or not. I don't care. The NFL is a joke nowadays in terms of officiating and a lot of other things. We've got a chance to get a stop and widen the lead. This is not a 3rd and 2. It's not a 3rd and 1, right? Where Allen can act as another runner who's very effective in those situations. There's a 3rd and 9, an opportunity to get after the quarterback, get the ball back to our offense. Green is lined up over Dawkins. They've gone to a joker set, meaning 1 tight end and 1 running back on either side of the quarterbacks for max pro purposes generally. Dawkins is kind of taking a deeper set. He does have the running back to his outside. So both smart tackles, if you ask me, and that their drops are variable depending on who they're facing and depending on, the situation. In this case, with the running back releasing to the outside, Dawkins' deeper drop really fits well with what Ty Johnson does. Additional to that on the other side, you've got Brown against Oweh. I don't think Oweh played very well. I think both of these guys are grabbing Oweh on the outside and Brown on the inside, but many times, if that tackle gets his hand on the inside, the frame of your chest, they're not going to call it. This is the cross chop for Green, trying to get to the quarterback. I love the effort. I'm going to be honest with you. I love that he's going for the sack here. We're trying to make a play. I don't think that we need 7 stops to beat this Bills team. We might not get 7 stops. In reality, if we face them again, we may only get 4 or 5. That was a huge moment. I'm glad Green went for the sack. I recognize that the The strategy, if you will, for the Ravens is, hey, we're going to contain him. Hey, we want to keep him in the pocket, force him to throw the football. I want Mike Green playing football aggressively and playing downhill. I don't want to inhibit him. In my opinion, I'm comfortable with this. Call it a loss, call it a bad rush if you want. I don't care. I want to see how good Mike Green is, and I want him to see how good he is and what he can get away with. And it's the regular season. He's going up against a really good offensive tackle. I firmly believe that the right tackle is better, in fact. Brown, but he's less technical, less physically strong, if you will. Allen gets able to, he's able to get outside the pocket, make a play. So I recognize that what I'm saying, kind of doesn't make sense. In my opinion, we drafted Mike Green where we drafted him to go get the quarterback. And these opportunities for him, I think, are invaluable to attack and see what moves are working and maybe refine them or work on them. The Bills got to 17-10 here, so it's a loss from the standpoint of what we did, how it worked out for us, and I'm advocating for exactly what you saw on the screen to occur. I want Mike Green to attack. I want to see him attack at a certain angle. I'd like to see more inside moves maybe. From a global standpoint, I'm more pissed off with how the second quarter worked out from a coaching standpoint. The Bills got to 17-10 here, and then we implode on our next offensive drive. We could have pushed it to 24-10 and then held, I say that with a smirk, late second quarter and then get the ball back to start the third. This thing could have been 31-10 early third quarter. Instead, we implode from a play calling standpoint. We go away from what's working, Derrick Henry, and we make it 20-10 and then figure out a way defensively in 28 seconds while the offense has no timeouts, mismanaged all the way around in my opinion, to allow them to get a field goal. I got more problems with that, the adults that are in the room, supposedly, as opposed to Mike Green making a pass rush when we want to contain Josh Allen. I think we have trouble with situational awareness still. That seems to be something that comes up every year, in my opinion. Maybe it's an early in the season thing. I have no trouble with Green trying to win on third down. He's going after it. I like it. We need to free up some of our guys and let them be who they are from the standpoint of demonstrate their talents, especially our young players like Mike Green. I recognize some may have a different opinion. Moving on to the third quarter, I'm only going to show you 9 plays here. This one I'm going to give you 2 angles. I love this concept, man. I just always have. Even when I was coaching high school and youth football, it's a Jill insert or whatever people want to call it. Basically, the tight end is stepping out to Green, and then the other tight end, the outside tight end, Knox, is inserting inside of that C gap. So we end up with Wiggins as a force player, Green as an edge defender, not the same thing, okay? And Green is kind of trying to figure out where the football is going to go. It's one of the things that makes Cook and the Bills' offense so dangerous, right, is that it kind of gives him a 2-way go. Some would say, hey, he's even got a 3-way go here. Well, when you see this insert by the tight end, this tells you where this play is designed to go. This is not designed for Cook to bring this back all the way over here, just like Derrick Henry or other great running backs, though. He could certainly do that. My point in showing it to you is it's a great scheme, and it's a 5-yard gain, which certainly feels like and looks like a loss. I'll give you the same play from the end zone angle, but sometimes a win is actually a draw, meaning functionally a 5-yard gain can be a win for you because you didn't lose. All of those words thrown together may not make sense. My point is it's a great scheme out of 12 personnel. And once they get up to the nickel, which is Marlon Humphrey here, it causes tremendous stress on the defense when you put one of your inside linebackers, Buchanan, over there. He's in the blue spot shadow here. So Roquan is soloed up. And so it's a great concept, and that's why I'm comfortable with the 5-yard gain here, even though certainly from a coaching standpoint, you don't want to give up 5 yards. I like Green's physicality. I like his hand strength. I think he does a great job against tight ends. You want him to compress this gap. So you want him to keep to the outside but compress this gap such that this lane is smaller. So in order to do that, he's got to be on the same side as a corner that he knows and trusts will be out there and can make that tackle, because Cook or other guys will oftentimes bounce it to the outside and take advantage of your corners, basically force them to make a tackle. I think the run game threatens your discipline, and in my opinion, Green holds up there from the standpoint that he's on the outside. He is peeking a little bit, but he does fold inside to make the tackle. The only tackle, in fact, that he's credited with on the day. 2nd and 5 here in the third quarter. We're up 27-13. It's a run concept away, and guess what? You've got the same exact setup with the 2 tight ends. Very old school. This is wing T-ish, really, to be honest with you, from the standpoint of how they're getting this done from a one-back set. It looks like a one-back set, but functionally, This guy operates like a fullback. He could be lined up in front of the tailback and go Jill ISO or lead block on a linebacker, second-level defender. In this case, Marlon really is aggressive at taking this on because he sees it. Tavius taken on the same block by the tight end that Mike Green saw on the previous play that I showed you. Cook takes it downhill. I think he gets 3 yards. So the combination of those two runs, right, creates a 3rd and 2. And one thing about Green I will say is he gets to the football. He's a guy who plays 100 miles an hour. He does not take plays off. He's not involved in the tackle here, really at all. I like Green's talent, but I also like just the way he plays. He seems to do things the right way, if you ask me. The ensuing 3rd and 2, here's Green. This is a receiver back in the backfield at running back in Shakir, and Ty Johnson is off screen, I believe, to our left. So Allen ends up taking this right up the middle of the field because, Madubuike's rush, whether there's a hold or not, I don't know. I really don't think so here. I think the guy's just got his hands up in the air, but Green is basically trying to get back into Dawkins, almost like he's attempting a little bit of a bull rush. Dawkins, I think, knows that this ball is either going to be thrown or Allen is going to be out of here quickly. I think that's just an illustration of how you can't get into 3rd and 2 against this version of the Buffalo Bills, and unless you're willing to play, somewhat risky coverages, basically solo man on those 3rd and 2s, push another player into the box. I would like to see Green be on the field for as much as possible on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. Even some of these 3rd and 2s like you just saw here. It's also possible that our mentality needs to change. It almost sounded like to me that John Harbaugh was admitting that because he talked about, certain things needing to change. And so he was almost recognizing that we needed to change the way we operated in the 4th quarter, and I wonder if he now recognizes we've got to win a shootout against teams like the Bills and the Chiefs maybe. Let's do a couple of reps over here against the right side of our screen against the right tackle Brown, who's a different player than Dawkins, perhaps not as strong physically and doesn't have maybe the ability to clamp and hold without getting away with it as much on the outside. Brown's strikes seem to be more clean, technical on the inside. I do think that's kind of reflected in one of the plays I showed you earlier where he's definitely got Oweh's jersey, but it's on the inside. So very jumpy against Green, if you ask me. I think Brown had done his homework. Dawkins too, meaning he understood what was coming. He felt like there was going to be a lot of chops coming his way. Maybe that's what Green goes to more when Green's lined up on his left. Look at the strike area for Brown. Interrupting, basically you're talking about like an interrupt jab in a combat sports analogy. Interrupting Green's move. Now Allen's looking in the other direction. This is one where he comes back to the right, pump fakes, and then ends up throwing it incomplete out to the right. I feel like this would be a great play to look at with our team and talk about caging Allen as best we can and having perhaps one rush get to the top side and one rush be a little bit more flat or square. That's just the way it works out here. Green, I think, was going for a chop, and Brown really just interrupted it. But my point is, having a little bit more organization of our pass rush, I think, would help this team against Josh Allen. We could perhaps contain and rush at the same time. So to use that structure that I just described, basically, I think Green might be the rush guy as we're talking about right now, if you were to compare him to Oweh, Van Noy, and T-Rob. Another pass rush situation off our left side against the right tackle Brown. It's 4th quarter, up 34-19. So you get this, I think, adjustment during the play by Brown, meaning he's putting his hand to the inside to perhaps help out with Madubuike. And then once the chop comes, he really just swallows Green up, if you will, stands him up. I think that Brown had done his research, both of those guys, but they pretty much knew what to expect from Green. I would like to see a rematch here and see what Green is able to go to. I think, more inside moves, perhaps more bull rushes that end up on the inside. And as an aside, I did not think Awuzie looked completely healthy to me. It didn't seem like his legs were all there. I don't know what his injury. I'm not basing it off of injury reports or anything like that. Just watching him move, his feet were not touching the ground that often. His cleats were in the air for a long time. His steps were larger. We used to do this with certain players when we would watch other teams. If you would watch plays in the first quarter, you'd get a certain amount of steps on average during the play. That might sound ridiculous to you, but basically you were trying to gauge fatigue, among other things. Awuzie looked like that in the first quarter. He wasn't moving well, in my opinion, even though, I think he did play well, and there's a lot of talent there. Last play that I'll show you, 2nd and 6, fourth quarter. And again, you get clear evidence that Brown was trying to interrupt a cross chop or anything like that. Green is adjusting here himself during the move. So I think this gives Green great intel and great experience to use in practice with Chuck Smith and try to, okay, if I'm in the middle of a cross chop or some type of step over and the guy jumps me, which is really what's happening here functionally, how do I adjust? Well, he tries to run around the corner. He tries to run all the way around and turn the corner, if you will. Brown was short or quick setting him often because he's smart. Both of those guys are smart, Brown and Dawkins, in my opinion. I think Brown is a little bit more technical of a guy, and maybe we've got to physically overwhelm him. I would like to see more inside moves from Green. I'm sure there's film of it from this game. It's just not what I chose to show you here, only having shown you 9 snaps. I think this is a good start for Green. I'm really not into like some of the advanced metric stuff, his PFF grading and pass rush win rate. I'm into the film. He's a good player. He's talented. He's strong at the point of attack. Strong hands. I think he held up against the run well. The Jill ISO or the insert with the 2 tight ends is a difficult concept to deal with. Matching up with Dawkins and Brown was a really good start. I think both of those guys present different challenges, and now he's got some film to look at. He'll get better, I think, quick with games like this. I'm going to be honest with you. I'd like to see Green get more reps, more snaps, consistent ones. If it's too many reps and someone gets pissed off, that's a real dynamic, right? Who's it going to be? Is Van Noy going to get upset? No. Oweh, I doubt it, but I don't know Oweh, his personality as much. He seems much more quiet. T-Rob is tough, and he's a baller. I think he's just going to accept it. I'm not saying that Green should be our number 1 outside linebacker. What I'm saying is I'd like to see him on the field on the second possession, pretty much the whole possession, strategically, right? T-Rob, maybe rotate with him. They're different players. I know there's situations where we want our best run-stopping group out on the field. I think Green is better against the run than a lot of people talked about in the draft lead-up. I actually discussed that a little bit in some of my draft content that I did on YouTube and Twitter. Only credited with 1 tackle, so not an overwhelming performance. I think he's going to get more snaps next week. You're welcome to let me know what you think of Green's performance in the comment section, as well as the plays that I chose to illustrate the quality of his play, even though he didn't have a huge impact statistically. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this content, this film study look at Mike Green, our rookie outside linebacker, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.